But people have always used the sort of, storytelling in different forms, even in...
I mean, even if you look in business and things like that, things like adverts, obviously, I mean, like a lot of adverts try to tell stories. And in actual fact, I was just thinking while you're talking about that as well, when we were talking about the difference in lengths and things, then at the moment, you particularly get this sort of, instead of actual adverts, you get companies sponsoring short films. So they'll go and, they'll pick the latest cinematographer or director from the best Vimeo staff picks, things like that, and they'll get them to make a film. You get Estrella doing a massive one, I think it was just late last year, that was pushed a lot on Vimeo and whatnot as well. And it's all sort of more about product placement stuff and sponsorship of a short film now, as opposed to just like short adverts. It's almost like they're going for the longer game.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, I mean, selling anything, if you can buy people into the idea of the narrative or the lifestyle. I mean, if you look back at sort of TV adverts from the early days of television, it was they weren't terribly sophisticated because they didn't know what they were doing. And now, of course, people are profiled. You know what certain people are going to want to aspire to. So you build that illusion for them within the narrative of the advertising. And so, but then you're sort of, a lot of the time, if you're second guessing and you're only building it on that, then it sometimes falls down because people really sense there is an honest spine to it, and it hasn't just been constructed like the Marvel series, like the Avengers series, where which I went the other day, and it's kind of like going for an all-you-can-eat buffet where you I'm going to have some fish and then some Chinese food and then some Thai food. There's everything on the screen. It's so massive and expensive, and the end just go, what was that? It was just like, because you're not following a character, you're kind of following one of these convoluted stories, but it's too big, it's not focused enough. And I think that comes out of a place going, always they think that bigger is better. So, Iron Man did well and Spider-Man did well. Let's bring them together and bring him in, and then, and it goes bigger and bigger. And then eventually you sort of lose sight of it. And he goes, and it was 3 hours.
So finally then, I just wanted to talk to you quickly as well about, you talk about things being focused, and we've been talking as well about things getting shorter and shorter to satisfy people. You also have got another venture that you're starting up at the moment, 90S Flicks, which is a new website platform for filmmakers. And the challenge is that you've got to make a microfilm basically in 90 seconds. But also it's meant to be watched sort of on the go. It's for people who maybe don't have a lot of time. So it's in 9:16 as well. It's in a mobile phone ratio. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, that came from an idea that because microfilms are very popular in China. And people will often watch stuff on their devices. They're waiting for a train or whatever. But obviously, the train comes. You don't want to invest in a long form. So like a minute and a half seemed to be. Microfilms can be anything from 7 seconds upwards. But the challenge is to see how much you can do in a minute and a half. And also then by using that aspect ratio, how then you can edit it and actually make engaging pieces of mini films, if you like, that will hold people and that they can watch and get
people are having to bother,
without twisting it around or whatever.
It's not a massive thing, but it's like you feel like you're watching something for a bit longer when you do it.
Yeah, and also I think it is that way of filmmakers having an opportunity, because a lot of advertising now is coming around to advertising in that format and has to be short form. And
IGTV and things like that as well.
Yeah, and people wanting to make stuff. And if you look back to the early days of the big British filmmakers like Ridley Scott and Alan Parker, and they all started in advertising and trying to create an image, trying to create a sort of a narrative or a sensibility. And actually, with 90S Flicks, 90-second flicks, the idea is if you can do that, then it's going to be hopefully a place where aspiring filmmakers can showcase their work. And then, as well as being an entertaining platform, people just to look at the films, it's also, if advertisers are on the lookout for a new filmmaker, somebody who could do something in that format, in that time frame, then that'll be the place to go. So
once it's sort of fully up and running, things like that, you're going to be offering like competitions, things like that as well, aren't you?
Yeah, we want it to be a sort of a kind of positive forum as well for filmmakers. We're not really interested in the kind of bad-mouthing people and say, your work's rubbish and everything else. It's mainly about trying to be supportive.
And a place where people can network as well and find other filmmakers that they like and maybe work with them as well.
Exactly, yeah. And so that's the idea. And the primary thing is to try and get people making films, because of course everybody's got a powerful camera in their pocket now. If you can edit it, even better.
And everyone's got a story in them.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the thing again about stories, and it doesn't matter how long it is, but obviously, these days you don't have to venture anything. You can just go out with your phone and make a 1 minute 50 film. If you can cut it together, all the better, and try starting some basic sort of editing techniques. But other than that, everybody can tell a story in 1 minute 50. And I think the idea is, what can you tell and how do you make it engaging? I'm hoping that we're going to see some exciting results.
Excellent. Well, we've put a couple of things on there as well of some of the campaigns that we've been working on recently, because a lot of those are made quite short as well for young people, and sort of a minute to 90 seconds. So we put a couple of those on there. There's also one of me as part of the Live Naked Idiot sketch group acting a fool on there as well. And there's more submissions as well coming in. At the moment, you're really sort of trying to build the submissions. Tell us the website and how people can do it.
Well, it's 90sflix.com, and if you go to the website, we've only put a couple of examples at first, but then
it's pretty obvious how you upload stuff as well.
You just literally go to the last page, the upload page. You have to agree to our kind of
terms
and conditions, and then you can just upload your mini film, and we will put everything up there. And then once it builds up a bit, then people will be offered the opportunity to join forums and have their own sort of pages, their own showcase page and everything else. But yeah, if you've got a short film, get it out there.
Brilliant. Andy, thanks ever so much. That's all from the Storyboard Show this week. See you next week.